Hello everyone, Voodoo here, and we are back. I took a little break off over the holidays just to, rest, relax. Went on a vacation to Maine. It was actually super fun. Love Maine, never been there before. Very pretty. And now we're officially back, and we are in the swing of things for Season 2 of The War Within, 11.1 Undermined. So today, I do this every year, every season, where I go through and look at the new trinkets coming in. So today, that's what we're doing. Taking a look at the agility trinkets coming out from both the new dungeon and the new raid in the next patch. Talking about what could be strong for Havoc, some fun ones that have just interesting effects, and just going over them all. So, Goose is also still here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Liking helps spread the video to new people and really helps support the channel. And let's get on to it. All right, so trinkets. So there's actually like a lot of interesting trinkets and effects and stuff like this. I do like that Blizzard has been kind of like experimenting and branching out and making more interesting effects on items. I think that's kind of one of the best parts of this game has been cool items. I don't know if we know what boss drops what yet. Not sure if that's a thing. There's been no PTR, it's all just data mining. So unsure if we know which boss drops what. If we do know, whoopsies. But yeah, so we're just gonna start off, and House of Cards is the first one I felt like talking about. This is an all spec trinket, so add you strength and agility. No, I said add you already, and intellect. And what this does is basically think of Scardens. It gives you a lot of mastery on use. However, it gives you a random amount of mastery, so between 6,000 and 8,000 at 623. Obviously, his eye level will go up to, I believe, 678, something like that. It's like plus 39 eye levels from where we are right now, so I think 678 is the proper number. So it will get a lot higher than this. But basically, what it does, you get that random amount, and then each time you use it, it increases the random floor. So after 3 uses, you should have, I believe, the maximum benefit, no matter like what you do, like every time you push it. Actually, I don't think that's correct. No, it'll just raise this floor here. So you get between 6,000 to 8,000, and after 3 uses, you'll get between, you should have like 1,000 higher floor, so between like 7,000 and 8,000 mastery. So a bit of randomness on it, but just a very strong mastery trinket. We'll see what happens with mastery. The removal of any means necessary, and I guess just that right there. Also, just kind of kills well, it doesn't kill mastery, but it makes mastery a lot worse for Havoc. Like, yeah, a lot of your single target stuff is still mastery. Chaos Strike, Eye Beam, Essence Break. The Hunt will be changed to mastery now. Of course, First Blood, it's all chaos damage, but like Demon Surge, Burning Blades, Immolation Aura, Collective Anguish, Demon's Blades, Fell Blade, which will do a lot of damage now. That's all not mastery related anymore, so unsure where we're going with this, or if they're adding more mastery benefit for Havoc, but this is a pretty strong on-use trinket. Next one, Eye of Kazan, is another just all-roll trinket, so add you strength and intellect. This one's very good. Mastery on equip. Again, I don't know how good mastery is going to be for us, but it's not bad. Spells and abilities have a high chance to empower the eye and give you 284 primary stat up to 20 times, decaying when leaving combat. While fully empowered, the eye instead deals damage to enemies or heals allies. So basically, this stacks up to 20 times the primary stat until you leave combat. Not sure how fast it will decay. I'm assuming like in Mythic Plus between packs, this will pretty quickly tick down. So maybe not as good in Mythic Plus. I don't know if we know the proc rate on this. And then when you have 20 stacks, every time it procs, you'll just deal damage. So honestly, kind of an interesting trinket, right? Because it's going to have benefit no matter what you do with it. If you're at 20 stacks and you proc it, you'll do some damage. If you're under 20 stacks and you proc it, you'll get more primary stat. So this to me seems like one of those trinkets that is going to be very, very powerful in like as a passive. Like this just having so much primary attached to it. Like I believe that would be 4,000 primary stat on a 623 trinket, which is very good. And then as well, you have the minor damage bonus. Don't know if that's AoE or single target, but that screams as a very strong trinket to me, a very strong passive, and something that a lot of specs are probably going to want. Again, don't know where this drops, but this is going to be a very strong passive to pick up, I imagine. Then we have this one. So this one's just for agility or strength, and this is a fun one. I have no idea if this is going to be good or not, but you basically call the GOON squad. You call a bunch of gooners to just attack you. So, well, attack your enemy. So abilities have a chance to call a member of the GOON squad, a gooner, to attack your target for 10 seconds. Bloodlust or any similar effect. So heroism, the dragon aspect one from evokers, primal whatever from hunters, and then time warp. All those will summon all of them. The whole crew. No idea how many crew there are. No idea what they do. No idea how strong this is. But this is just a funny trinket. You just summon a bunch of gooners, a bunch of the goon squad, which is a bunch of goblins. To just attack your target. Is that good? I have no idea, but it's really funny, and I really hope it ends up being good, because man, is it a funny name. And you summon a bunch of gooners, which is hilarious. Another one here from the raid gives you agility, which is pretty good. Equip, your damaging abilities have a very high chance to charge the magnet up to 30 times, and then whenever you use it, you reverse the magnet's polarity to violently recycle buried garbage, dealing 60,000 plague damage to your target per charge. Lingering virulence deals 10% of the damage dealt to 5 number enemies over 6 seconds. So this reminds me of Bomb. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but this reminds me of the like Dragon Fire Bomb or whatever from Aberrus. And the reason this is pretty good for Havoc is that we use a lot of abilities. We're very high RPM, not RPM, APM spec. And depending on how this procs, if this procs off of like instances of damage, it's even more for us, because all of our abilities basically are multi-hit moves. Chaos Strike hits twice, Blade Dance hits like 4 times, I-Beam hits like, I don't even know off the top of my head, like 8, 10 times, something like that. We have 2 melee swings. So a lot of different abilities that like deal damage in multiple instances if it works like that. Otherwise, we are still a very high APM spec. So effectively, it's just, I don't know if it's going to be better to use this on cooldown. Probably on cooldown, probably just macro this into like Blade Dance or Chaos Strike or something like that. And just throw a bunch of garbage at your enemies. It's like the Danny DeVito clip from Always Sunny, where he's like, the garbage man, go in the ring and I throw garbage. Like that guy. That's this trinket, which is kind of fun. I don't know, like a lot of these goblin trinkets are just like really fun, which I like. Like there's just like a lot of like whimsy behind them, because goblins are just like silly little guys. Don't know if this will be good or not. I hope it is, because it's funny. In an ideal world, we'll play the Goon Squad one in this one, so we just summon a bunch of gooners and throw garbage everywhere and just really become like a Redditor. But I don't know. I do like the small little AoE effect as well. A little AoE dot means that this actually has some benefit in AoE, where Bomb didn't, where Bomb was just kind of a single target thing, unless the target died. This one is always going to deal 10% of the damage dealt to 5 nearby enemies. I don't know if that will also replicate onto the primary target. I imagine it'll do the primary target and 4 other enemies, but I can't confirm that because we can't test it, right? But this is one I think I would look out for just early on here, because this to me reminds me of a trinket we've had in the past that was very good, but seems a bit better than that trinket in fact. So look out for this. Longtime viewers of the channel knows how bad of a luck I had to get Bomb. It took me literally almost the entire tier to get one on Mythic. So I hope that doesn't continue here, but interesting trinket, look out for it. That's it for the raid trinkets. There's more raid stuff at the end I'll go over. Next up, dungeon. This one's very good. Improvised C4 and Pacemaker. This is from the new one, Operation Water something or other. The new dungeon they're adding next season, which will be in Mythic Plus, which is cool. Basically, it's add your strength trinket, and you unequip it, you repurpose a C4 charge to give your heart a kick, causing your first ability every 60 seconds to give you critical strike for 15 seconds. And then whenever you have that up, critical strikes extended up to 15 seconds, basically. So you'll have every minute, your next ability will give you a 30-second crit buff, especially for Havoc, where we like crit. A lot of our abilities auto crit with I-Beam, which, by the way, like weird inverse scaling there with looks can kill, where the more crit we have, the worse that ability becomes, which is stupid, but whatever. But I mean, like Havoc hits so many times, we crit so much over 15 seconds, especially with a crit bonus, that this is effectively every 30 seconds, every minute you'll get 30 seconds of crit. Now, the downside of that is that we burst on a 40-second cycle. With like Cycle of Hatred, I could see this being pretty good, but again, there's like that thing where I-Beam doesn't really benefit a lot from crit if we're playing looks can kill. Like, sure, there's some value there because we know your enemy, but a lot of the value is lost when you don't actually gain the benefit of being able to crit because it's already critting. Still like a pretty strong trinket, I imagine. Most of the time, this will be up at some point with like your Essence Break, right? Because we burst on a 40-second cooldown. You'll proc it for your main cooldowns, and then you'll have it up roughly with like 20 seconds left for your third Essence Break, and then you'll have it up roughly for your meta. So it lines up pretty well. There's like going to be a bunch of times where you don't really have this for your like all of your CDs, but because it lasts for 30 seconds, you end up having enough of this buff up to get value during your cooldown. So I wouldn't worry about that much. Again, of course, assuming we're like, we don't know all the changes coming for Havoc, so assuming we're still in a lot of crit, then I imagine this would be a pretty good trinket to pick up from dungeons to farm. Oh, this is actually raid one. Whoopsies. So this one I added because it's weird and interesting, and depending on how haste heavy we are, it could be good. So there's two modes to this. So there's this is Mr. Lock and Stock. So there's a single target mode, and then there's an AoE mode, which isn't listed here because of a tooltip error. It basically gives you haste, and your spells and abilities have a chance to blast your target for damage. And then it's an on use, which swaps it between the single target and the spread AoE mode. So the spread AoE mode is like it deals fire damage split amongst targets, which they've buffed all those trinkets. So those trinkets I think should be a little bit better than historically. But basically you have like a single target or an AoE one. I don't think this will be that good. It depends how strong a lot of other trinkets are going to be. We'll have to see. I don't think either mode deals a ton of damage. So if it procs like a ton, then this could be pretty good. It has high chance, so we'll see what that means. But I just threw this on here for prosperity's sake. I hope this summons a little guy. Because calling in Mr. Lock and Stock. So I hope we just summon a little robot, which is kind of why this is here. All right. Moving on, more dungeon trinkets. This is another new one. I don't think this one's that good, but I'm going to throw this up here because this is a new trinket they're adding. They're adding this to Mechagon Workshop from the dog, Cujo. On use, you channel for 2 seconds, venting fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards. So right there, channeling a trinket, not great. You need it to be a really strong trinket for that to be worthwhile. Mechanical enemies become superheated, taking bonus fire damage from next attack, which could be interesting. There's going to be a lot of mechanical enemies in this season, right? With the operation, with the goblin raid, with Mechagon Workshop, with the Motherlode. All those have mechanical enemies in them, so that could be pretty interesting. If there's like a boss, if someone's a bunch of little mechs, then this could become like a niche pick there, a pretty interesting pick. But the damage on a channeled 2-second channel trinket needs to be pretty high to make it worthwhile. So we'll see on this, but it is a new trinket, so I figured I'd bring it up. And finally, I just want to talk about Azarok's Resonating Heart. This is from the Motherlode, just mastery that gives you agility. So very, very good. It reminds me a lot of this one, but just like a pretty great proc. So those are all the trinkets, but there are other things I want to talk about, and these are going to be like cantrip effects. So I think these are bad, but these are from Mechagon. Basically, they're a wrists for leather that don't have any secondary stats. So people would normally know Hyperthread wrist wraps, which is the cloth version, because of how busted it was for Fire Mage back in BFA. The leather one just deals damage. Now, I can't scale it up for higher than this, at least with the WoW head. So it's still like 200 eye levels lower. But I think losing secondaries to just deal like, I don't know, at most maybe like 500,000 damage every minute, probably not worth it. But we'll see. These do exist. Maybe they're good. I don't know. Like secondaries on wrists are pretty minor anyways. So maybe in a world we have so many secondaries that these would be worthwhile. Who knows? But figured I'd talk about it. All right, next is stuff from the raid. So these are all little effects from the raid. Think of this raid. We have the cloak, we have the ring, we have the weapon. Well, we have a cloak, we have a ring, and we have a weapon. So there you go. Test Pilot's Go Pack, not like a very useful thing. It increases movement speed by 150% and allows you to skim over water, diminishing over 1 second. So it's a little like quick little burst. Pretty useless for Havoc, but the stats could be pretty solid if we do want haste. Mastery is still probably gonna be pretty good in raid. Just a fun little jetpack. I hope it looks like a jetpack. I don't know if I can see that anywhere. But there you go. Little jetpack. Cool. Real things here. Capo's Molten Knuckles. So this is going to be the weapon that we are going to be chasing in the raid. It is a fist weapon. There is another one for one-handed mace users. Havoc cannot use maces, so I will not be covering that. But there are like other weapons. There's actually a lot of them. There's like a two-handed mace. There's like a gun. There's like a shield. A lot of different effects in these things. But this is the one we can use. So no secondaries. Just like fine. Equip, gain a high chance to follow up your attacks with a fiery gilded uppercut, dealing 256,000 fire damage to your target. Molten gold continues to splatter to deal 71,000 fire damage over 5 seconds to all nearby enemies, reduced beyond 8 enemies. So that's a pretty powerful effect. Just like an extra like bam, like 30,000 or 300,000 fire damage. Of course, this is still like 50 eye level under where it's going to be, but pretty powerful like damaging effect, as long as it says high chance, so I assume it procs pretty often. And then the little AoE effect on top of it, which is really nice. A lot of these weapons don't have an AoE benefit to them. Think like the Warglaive, I don't remember what it's called, Storm Strike, whatever, from the Unharmed Plains dungeon in Dragonflight. Think the dot weapon we have this tier, Void Reaver's Warp Blade. Oh, those are just like single target dots. This is a single target effect that also deals AoE damage. That is uncapped. Like, it obviously does reduce damage on 8, but still can hit 40 targets if there are 40, which is pretty good. So really like this one. Pick this one up. Obviously, this is kind of the thing that Havoc is really good with because we haste scale so well with meta, with I-Beam, Furious Gaze, stuff like that. So this will be very strong. And I think it's full power. I'm not sure if this is less agility or not. I haven't looked at other like weapons from this raid, but I think it's no agility loss. I think it's just secondary loss, which is very strong. And finally is the rare ring. This is almost certainly from the final boss, Gallowix, just from the the tooltip, going over like just him destroying businesses. High mastery, low haste ring, which if we were this tier, this would be great. Right, mastery is so good for us. With any means necessary gone, and without knowing the rest of the changes, not going to be as good. But this ring is still very powerful. So equip, take credit for your allies' deeds up to once every 12 seconds, gaining 130 of their highest secondary stat up to 10 times until shortly after leaving combat. Then every time you gain a stat, you have a 10% chance to get caught, transferring all accumulated credit to your ally for 15 seconds instead. So what happens here is there's a proc once every 12 seconds. So pretty often, I think that's 4 or 5 times a minute. Off the top of my head, I think it's 5 times a minute. So every 2 minutes to stack fully, you'll gain 130 of an ally's highest secondary stat. So full statted ring that also just gives you more secondary stats. Then you have a 10% chance to instead transfer all those stats to an ally. So if your whole raid has this, then it's going to be like the ring currently, where you're going to give a lot of stats to your allies, which would be, while not all the time being like, oh, why would I want to give stats to my allies? It is a group game. It is a, MMO, massively multiplayer. So giving those stats to your allies is still raid damage, even though it might not be a personal damage, which will help you clear things faster, easier, whatever. Now, of course, this is like a proc ring. 10% chance every 12 seconds is like pretty minor. You should get a good amount of these procs without giving them away. Obviously, you can get very unlucky and never get a proc. Just give it away every single time, but that is still going to be raid damage for your raid. I think this ring's very good. I think you're going to want this for sure. It reminds me of the current Anserex ring. I'm assuming this will be very rare. We are going to get some dinars. We're going to get 2 dinars to buy whatever we want. Almost certainly this will be one of the ones you buy, because good luck getting this otherwise. If you don't have a ring yet from this current raid from Nerevar Palace, you understand. I don't have one. Just haven't seen it dropped. Haven't gotten it in the vault. So very rare rings that everyone wants. Hard to get. I'm glad they're getting ours. So those are all the items. Woohoo! A lot of stuff. 17-minute video. Pretty long. Talked through my thoughts. First video I've done in a bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, like, interesting stuff. Again, like, I like what Blizzard is doing with this raid in terms of the theme, in terms of like the weapons we're getting. The trinkets are all kind of interesting and cool. A lot of the effects are kind of whimsical and fun, like you'd think you would find in a goblin raid. No complaints here. I think if I were to complain about something, it would be the tier sets, but the items, again, look sick. So I don't know where the disconjunction between those two is, but some really cool stuff. I didn't cover any of the stuff that's already in the 3 other dungeons coming up from Dragonflight. I think it's 3, right? Yeah, we're getting Priory, we're getting the B1, and I think we're getting the Darkness one, if I remember. No, we're getting all 4. What's the other one? I'm missing one. I don't remember. Whatever. There's like other trinkets, like the wax whistle, the darkness trinket thing, the honey buzzer, and the sigil that gives you secondary stats that are pretty good from dungeons, but I didn't feel like covering those today because they're already in the game and you can look them up yourself. But those are new ones. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video. We'll see what Mondays is. I might go over the new Survival Hunter rework to one of the hero talent trees because there's not like a ton of Havoc stuff. But hopefully soon we come in with more PTR, with more changes. I expect Tuesday we'll get a PTR. We'll see, of course, but it should be pretty soon, which is exciting. So if you want more Havoc stuff, more survival stuff, maybe some other just general WoW stuff for 11.1, hit the subscribe button. I want to try and hit 15,000 subscribers in 2025. It'll be huge if we do. We're about 2.5 thousand away, which I think is doable. But we'll see. So thank you all so much for the support. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for sticking around while I was on my little break, and I'm back now, ready to rock. So I don't know. Thanks. Bye. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you, Alexander Trifunovic, Zuligan, Fear Redefined, Indiga, Gabrielle Correa, Magic Man 133, Palafadarn, Dark Terror, and Skyelt. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. If you want to become a channel member and get some exclusive perks and just help support me in making some content, there's a link down below. Otherwise, though, I just appreciate you all so much, and thank you for watching.